Awesome. So today on Diary Sysadmin, we have Matthias. Matthias, I think I saw you started your career in 2004 at Installer AS. Usually I see people like start at the help desk, that realm. But I saw your role was MSI and Windows installer.
So that's correct. It's a long time back. You just reminded me of how old I am. Thank you for that. Thank you for having me here. It's great to be on a show that I honestly have not seen before, but I definitely look forward because I see myself as a sysadmin, even though I do consultancy work and have been doing since I started the IT business as you said, in installers. And the last part is a Danish corporation, so it's like a corp. So yeah, I started there in 2000. I came right from high school. I didn't finalize high school actually. I went there for 2 years, and I thought that Danish on A level and stuff like that wasn't my cup of tea. Is it useful? Definitely, yes. If you need to write a lot of things and you have to be good at communicating, but I'm also a kind of person that says, well, if I need to be communicating, I'll try to then learn what I need to communicate and how to communicate. And I think I got what I wanted from high school, and I always had this fire starting inside. I wanted to get out. I wanted to get started. I wanted to get a job. I wanted to earn money, start my own life, stuff like that. So I guess that's why I dropped school and started in IT.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome. I mean, it's true, right? Because if you only need certain aspects of the skills, and it seems like you're very driven, you're like, I'm going to go figure out those skills that I need for that certain role or the aspects of it.
Yeah, in the beginning, I definitely did not know what I wanted. When I came to installers, I knew they were doing something called SMS, and I thought that was a kind of a phone service, the small text you do. It was definitely not that. It was the early edition of Config Manager, and I didn't know that at that point. So I got like hooked up with a couple of the consultants there, and they told me that oh, you should try out this packaging format called Windows Installer, and Windows Installer was built with the Office 2000 edition. So it was pretty new at that time. Microsoft technology, it takes a bit of time to mature. So it was really brand new at that time. Companies were screaming for standardization in the application deployment. So that was kind of where I started off learning about DLL Hell and other aspects as they were called, and how to not have that in your environment and actually have a very, very satisfying upgrade experience going from one app to another app.
And I want to take it back just a little bit. How did you fall into that position or just kind of learn about that opportunity?
Oh, that's a really good question. So here comes the lucky part for me, because I dropped out the high school, and then I went into something where I was in a rotation job situation. So I tried everything. What I definitely didn't want to do. I always thought in seventh grade, I believe it started really when I got my first computer, I wanted to do something with computer. I was mostly playing the computer. I was not, into tear it apart and look into all the hardware stuff. But that came a bit later. So I went to school with a guy that actually owned installers, and I was in an amusement park in Denmark called Tivoli, and I met the guy there after applied for like 50 companies if they needed a trainee. I didn't even get any response back then in 2003, I guess that was. So then I approached him and said, hey, I need a role. Can you help me there? And he might be a bit drunk at that time. So I really approached him and said, hey, can you give me a role, because I really need a job. And he said, well, call me Monday and let's figure out. And then I got my first call with him, and then I needed to go through a couple of other interviews with his partners. Then one of the partners actually was into triathlon, and I didn't know that at that point. I just thought, IT dudes, bad condition body-wise. If you go to this half marathon with me, and what time can we agree? You will pass the half marathon in. And I said, yeah, well, I'll do it in 2 hours. Well, then let's agree that you pass the half marathon. You show your commitment to this, and then the job is yours.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, I was a soccer player. Played a lot of soccer when I was young. Decent at running, so I thought that would be easy. So I wasn't training for that at all. And yeah, I think I made it in like 1 hour and 58 minutes or something like that. It was really, really hard.
That's a unique interview.
Yes. At that time, I showed that I really wanted the job. It took me a week to recover, but I got into the role. And then from there, I had all the opportunities that I needed to then grow in IT and get to learn from some of the best in Denmark, at least.
That's awesome, right? It's really nice when you're surrounded around, people who are, like you said, in your case, the best in Denmark. So the standards set at that point are, pretty high. So you're kind of having to bridge that gap to meet them or exceed them at that point.
Exactly. Yeah, and yeah, as I started with, I didn't know what I wanted, so I was like, yeah, you do this job because we need that kind of position to be filled out. There was a big ask from businesses in Denmark, and I think globally actually, but yeah, so I was put together with this. It was a developer guy type of thing where he really was maturing all the rules of the Windows installer schema, all the tables. We're building software to then do packaging and to interpret it, what the Windows installer would do, how to build MSI formats, MSTs, MSPs, whatever is within the Windows installer formats. That was my training period, and that's what I was doing for the first 2 years of my career, while going to school and then get my educational exam for it was actually IT support.
So then you're finishing up those 2 years. Do you stay there? Do you move somewhere else?
Yeah, I stayed at installers for the 2 years, and they wanted me so badly to stay, so they actually wanted me to quit the education and then start full-time consultant. But I didn't want that. I wanted to finalize something, right? Because I didn't finalize the high school. So I wanted my papers on this education, and I did that. And after I was educated, I moved on to a new company where I was for the next 13 years.
And in that next role, I think was it Mansoft? In that next role, I think I saw you were like, you took on a couple roles of like head of division, technical manager, pre-sales. Kind of take me back to the beginning when you're starting that role and take me upon that journey.
Yeah. So how it all started was, of course, with all the experience I had in the packaging area. Businesses became more eager to buy in on these standardized packaging formats, and the big corps in Denmark definitely needed a central way to manage all of this. So they wanted the best of the best. We kind of in Mansoft created there was one competitor though, a big other consultancy company. But I believe that we crunched them big time because they were used people from other countries where we in-housed everything to Denmark. So the communication flow was just flat, and it was so easy to get into the right rule sets, how to work with the Danish customers, etc., etc. So it became quickly a very popular service because our percentage of failing applications, because when you're working with applications, there's not just that you automate something, it's also a user acceptance test. It needs to go into the system, needs to be deployed to a PC, there needs to be an end user in the other end saying, yes, this software does work, because we tamper with the way it installs. So from the original installation package is no longer the original one. So that means we need to make the correct decision when we place a file or register a DLL or a registry, put it into the right directories. Installing stuff with system context. You're not able to put things in current user hive in registry. And how do you repair that while the user then logs on and then run the program and stuff like that? So it was quite extensive of the amount of knowledge that we had to then build all these centralized applications. And that built up. And so we got a bigger and bigger division. And in 1 or 2 years in that Mansoft company, we realized that working with Config Manager was not something we really knew about. We were delivering all the apps to it, but now we also wanted to take in that experience working with that centralized management system. And that made me realize that I wanted to be able to build all the services that we had. So I had to upscale myself as well. And be more an architect level type or specialist on these type of projects. So I started to learn that in the early days of, it was Config Manager 2007. And we saw a lot of holes in the product, you could say. Well, it does a splendid job, but user-friendly it's never been. So we started to develop a front end to the tool, and that became more and more popular in the market. So as that grew, we also got more consultants on Config Manager. We got even more consultants on MSI packaging, and that combined with a product with recurring revenue was just a really, really strong combination to win the Danish market. And I was part of all that, growing from 4 people in the company. There was 2 owners and one of the owner's cousin, and then me. And when we were on the top level, we were 250 people.
Wow.
So we really grew. We really had a specialized, good product that helped our consultancy business also to grow. And that was really a great chapter of my life, because I learned so many things around building software, pre-sailing software, building the right solutions for the customers that they really needed to become even more productive on their environments. So basically what we did was, delegate more control, but in a safe manner. So it was a website that you logged into, and then you were delegated some roles, and that then gave you exact that kind of responsibility you were hired to do in the company in terms of Config Manager. And then the whole self-service concept became one big hit in the beginning, as users wanted to Windows is not useful for any people that work with an application. What they really want is a PC that can run their software. So if you can put them in control of their own device and they can shop their own software, they can decide when the new version of the software needs to come down to devices, then you really come far in the IT industry and the whole picture of how things are working out there, because nobody cares if you're on the newest version of Windows or whatever. That's the IT's responsibility, right, to keep that supported. So that was really kind of the heart of it, to help IT to manage the IT system, but help the end user help themselves by self-service.
How were you learning about, like, right? You also had to learn about these different services, not only like configuration manager, but also like the different aspects of the technical business. How were you learning those two at that time?
Yeah, so being a technical person, it's often hard to move on C-level or whoever is in charge of processes, and who will decide if to buy or not to buy a product and stuff like that. So of course, We had a sales staff for that. What I learned is if you bring the two combination together, one that is really good at connecting to customers and telling just about enough to get them hooked, and they want to hear more about the product. And then you have another technical person that really understands how to then explain what the benefits are for you. And you have this process today. You want to be better at this. You will have more of this, and that will save you time, because then you can have your key resources doing development instead of operational tasks that will get your company nowhere, right? It's all about that perspective and see how does this help your everyday. Because if you can pinpoint these things, I believe everything will sell itself, because it makes no sense if the tool is not going to help you, then it makes no sense to buy it. But if you can pinpoint these things, it will just sell itself. So how did I learn it? I believe I always had some kind of connect the dots, but as I grew as an IT expert in these products, I also saw all the flaws in the systems. So I knew where we could improve on product and say, well, we solve this and this and this, and that will always help the return of investment when you talk to the customer and say, hey, did you also face this issue? And most likely they did. And then I can say, well, I have a solution for you. Yeah, then it was easy from there, right?
Yeah. Did you have any mentors or anybody at that company that was kind of like helping you, like, you know, move along your journey? Or was it just kind of like learning by yourself?
Yeah, I have had many mentors. The beginning, I had one called Ronnie Tunnell, who was one of the owners of the Mansoft company. He helped me from the early beginning. I was super green, and was really good at sharing information and make me strong on my field. So he was my mentor for very many years. And then I kind of, grew into a position where I started, to maybe be the one that took over, because, when you start a company, there are many other things that you need to do. So we didn't split, but he was just in another area of the business, and then I started to grow and go up the ladder, and as you saw, business manager and pre-sales and stuff like that, that help the overall company to then grow even bigger and sell more to other consultants within the business. So I went from, IT specialist to a more like, you are now an architect, and now you know about these products. You have done it for many years. You can teach others. You can be a mentor. You're on your own. You can mentor these people. Your time is better given out if you sit on top, and you will then share your knowledge with these IT pros. So that was kind of where I went with that. Do I still have mentors? Not as such, but I do have peers, and I do share a lot with my peers. I'm part of the group that's called MS Endpoint Manager, which is a very, very cool group of people that in early days of Intune really built a lot of great products. Even for Config Manager, they built lots of innovations, was community based. And then we have a cool group in LinkedIn, the Modern Endpoint Management Space, where we have around 48,000 members now. Everyone invited, and we're really strict on the content there. We look everything through. We don't want any commercial. We want blog post. We want things that helps other. And we even validate the content of that posts, because we want quality in the post that is delivered there. So I believe very much in peers. I believe very much in networking. I believe very much in you become what you move in. So if you move in a good circle of people, you become a good one yourself. And then always strive to try to get to be friends or come in a network where you have people that do a better job than yourself on or excel in some areas that you don't do, because then you can always learn. If you're the best, then you will never learn. Maybe if you're good at, you sit in the evenings and do stuff, but if you have others that are better in certain areas, that is a really, really good way to learn and extend your knowledge.
100%. And I kind of want to get back to, you mentioned MS Endpoint Manager. How did that get started?
Oh yeah, I think it was maybe in the beginning of 2021. I started a YouTube channel. I always wanted to share knowledge. So when I came to Minecore 5 years ago, I was given the task that I should start blogging. So I did that, and very fast I came on the radar for Microsoft, and some MVPs reached, actually 3. Adam Gross, that is part of that is part of the Intune training. He reached me and said, "Hey, I like the content. How do you think about me suggest you become MVP?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, that sounds about right. I would love to." And I had a couple of other people that also wanted to nominate. I guess it was at that time that it really went fast. So I started this YouTube channel, and I started to record stuff that I think is important for people to know. It's not the basic stuff. It's more like you already have basic knowledge, and then you build upon that kind of video. And then with a source anchor in what the reality is. So not just, reading the docs and then just tell what Microsoft tells from the docs. That's not how I do it. I really want to put my own touch on how the service is working, or even how I am working with the service. So that YouTube came in place, and Nikolai from the MS Endpoint Manager team, who's kind of founding that, he reached me and said, "Hey, we want you to join. Are you interested?" I said, "Yes, of course. Who don't want to join this group of fantastic people?" So yeah, I said I want to merge my channel to MS Endpoint Manager, and so we'll use that as the baseline, because it was already over 1,000 subscribers at that time. So yeah, it's always hard to start something new, but it takes continuously building up videos and publish, and that takes a lot of time to then, first of all, think of a topic that would interest it of any other people, and then the post-production of that video, and even have software available on your computer to do the post-production and know how to do it. So yeah, that was kind of the start to MS Endpoint Manager. Yeah.
So initially it was like your standalone channel, and then MS Endpoint Manager kind of like merged you with them. Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. And then for those that knows this group, many of them has built some kind of tooling. So the first question I got asked was, "So what did you build?" I was like, "Nothing really." So I had to invent something. I figured out that I saw that as you know, the background of developing software, I wanted to give something to the community, and I love debug, like the Rudy Ooms from the Netherlands. He's many thousands levels above, but I love chatting with him. So I thought, let's build a debug service that is more available for people, because I tend to forget what commands I need to run. I can quickly identify where I need to go look, but what do I then need to do, and how can I get the logs for that, etc. So I thought, why not build a community solution where I know there's a lot of people that contributes to a lot of good scripting and debug things. So I reached out to all these people. I started gathering a database with toolings, and I had some on my own as well. And then I started build this Intune debug toolkit. And that was then my way into saying, yeah, I build software now. This is my community solution.
Man, that's awesome. So then you're at this point, probably around that time, you're moved into your new role at Minecore. At Minecore, are you more? I think it was more of a consulting, like kind of understanding the whole package or like the whole ecosystem of Microsoft per se?
Yeah, it's basically what I'm doing now. I'm still very specialized in client management, but I do more enterprise architect level things. So I'm drawing the solutions, I'm drawing the migration path. Many companies are looking at cloud native devices at the moment. So how do we do that? Especially in high regulated businesses, they need to know everything in details and be in control. So I do very much of digging into, so how do we choose a vendor, for example? That's that's a given for many IT pros out there. They start at a level where the product has already been chosen. I start at a level where the company does not have a strategy. So that's where I moved now. So I help the company build the strategy to say, okay, we have a business strategy that says we wanna grow this much over the next 5 years. We're gonna hire people in these areas, so we need IT infrastructure that can support this. And then we choose IT infrastructure that fits into that business strategy. So yeah, I've been with a customer now for almost 4 years. It's running 5 years now, where we're doing cloud native. We started by implementing Intune as the MDM platform. Much of this was a decision based on COVID, when you weren't able to patch your devices because they were at home. How do you do that? Either you have cloud services, or you have something, that proxies or DMZ zones or whatever is applicable, but you need to reach your devices and somehow. Or all devices just connected to VPN connection. That's also a solution. But the same problem for everyone was that they had to reach to the internal infrastructure. And no businesses had this amount of lines available, because they had, before COVID, it was like 10% can work from home. So that was kind of the VPN connectivity scalability, right? And then COVID came and everyone was shipped home, right? We sit at home and then everyone goes to the VPN tunnel and the whole infrastructure just, poof, nothing works, because it was scaled for 10%. And so that kind of solution where it's scalable, it's reachable through the internet, it covers the business strategy. That kind of level is where I'm at now. I still love to go deep in the product, mostly Intune, of course. That's my favorite, as I am Microsoft MVP. But I'm very interested in all the AI stuff as well, because I think, for many people, AI is, everyone says AI, AI, AI. But I think that you can't just put in a prompt and say, it didn't work for me. You need to learn it. You need to spend time with it. You need to refine the prompts that you do. You need to understand that one prompt is not enough. Often you prompt once, you get a response, and then you learn how to get the result matured as you want it. And then you can build incredible stuff. And I'm really amazed with the AI engines that exist today. And it really helps to develop a lot of stuff. And that's why I want to move more in that area, because it will enable me to build more. So I don't have to sit every evening and, coding stuff. You can just prompt it now. And if you have the proper learning for the AI, then you get good code, actually. And if you use the right AI engines, then you can get really, really far. And I even seen AI agents where you can just prompt and it's going to build a brand new web page for you with database, logins, everything. It's amazing.
Where do you see AI fitting in the endpoint space?
Yeah, that's a good question. I see AI fitting mostly for end users with data. We work a lot in my track with the customer right now with operation manuals, and that needs a service manager, stuff like that. But these operational manuals become often very heavy. Over time, 100 pages with very important information. How do I do a change? What do I need to look for every week? Is there any news that I need to look for? Is there certificates running out of expiry dates, etc., etc.? All that thing. So where can you use AI? Either you have some really, really good service managers, which typically are not very IT-minded people, but are more like, I need to deliver this service. So they are reading the whole thing and they say, yeah, I understand maybe 60% of it, but I can't remember it. So where do I see AI accelerate and excel? That's exactly the one of the use cases is the service manager, where you then create a SharePoint space, you put up all your documentation, and then you use one of the Copilot Studio agents to then directly look at that content. Not the full M365 Copilot, but the Copilot Studio, so you can prompt directly and get answer from just that source. I see that as a really, 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 really strong tool for internal use.
Yeah, absolutely. I was playing a little bit with it too, and I can see what you mean with it. It's like the documentation, the stuff is there. The end user doesn't necessarily want to read through the whole 100 pages, but if they have something specific they want to ask, they could just ask the agent. And
that's definitely one example. The other example I have is that when we implement things like consultants and things like that, often there is a customer that needs to take over the project when we're done. And I'm the kind of person that loves to then hand it over perfectly to the operations, because if the things I implement is going to make the people that operate it frustrated, then I didn't implement the right solution. So I'm working very closely with the operation team when I do the architecture on it. And then I look at the intent and I see how it works in reality, because that's often two different things. And then when I want to do that handover, so instead of having me who built the solution to sit around and, well, cost a lot of money for them, I rather say, instead of doing screenshots and guides, long guides that they have to read, because it will be tough for when they onboard the next operation officer or the next one, right? So I rather see it as the future is prompting to some source that I built and even into the live environment. So if you can prompt, I can put in some good ways of working with the service. If you can take that rule set and then you can have the live data and you combine that, you have a really, really strong contestor to operational tasks inside. And that's basically what Security Copilot will offer. When we really see the light of it, I think it will really take off.
I haven't messed around much with Security Copilot. Like, can you mention that story? Is it possible right now to say, like, say you have tamper protection turned on? Is it possible for you to go to like Security Copilot and be like, what policies tamper protection turned on, and who is it applied to? Does it have that capability?
Well, it would be nice if you really could do that. It's definitely one of the intents of the product, but I'm also at that level right now where let's not ask it about that. We want it to be completely safe and do not hallucinate and stuff like that. So the most important thing here is to create a AI space where you get exact information. If you don't, you can't trust it. Then people will stop using it. So that is the priority one for the team, is to make it really, really solid on the answers it gets. If you want to do that, you can't create some sort of AI where you can just prompt for everything. You need to be more specific in the areas that you prompt, because otherwise it will definitely hallucinate. I don't think it's possible to create one big general solution that does that. So that's why the integration to, for example, Intune, or the integration to Defender for Endpoint makes a lot of sense, because then you can direct the prompts into the product, and that will give you a much better experience with generating responses and results. Are we there yet? I haven't used it large scale yet, because it's very expensive. So we need to see, again, there needs to be a use case for it. There needs to be a return of investment. If I bring this in place, what will I save? Can I take away a partner that normally operates this thing, or what is the benefit for me? If I can't tell that, I can't make the sell. So it's that easy right now. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I saw you did a live show about MS Endpoint Manager at Mem Summit. Was that the first one?
Yes, that was actually the first live show of What's New in Intune that we try to do every month. We've not been doing it for the last 2 months. The reason for that is that we look through what's new and we say, okay, we don't think there is enough meat on the bone. And then we don't want to build an entire series of that. So we combine a couple of months and look at what's new in Intune. And that's actually a very good topic to talk about because things in the UI in Intune, they tend to change. You can set Windows Hello for business in many ways. So where do you set it? Which part of the UI do you configure these kind of settings? I think it was 7 places at one time. And then it's different experiences that you get. You can do it tenant level, you can do it from settings catalog, you can do it from endpoint security blades, you can do it a lot of things, a lot of places. They have each of their why are they in the product in the first place? That's because of first there was a HoloLens that needs to be supported and they work in one way. Then there was a Windows device, and then there was something else, right? So the product also matures over time, but that really is hard for people that doesn't move and see Intune every day. They will have a hard time to follow up, and that's basically why we created it. Because where do I find my policy? What is new now? And then try to summarize that and boil it down to what is the essence of the 2 new builds, for example.
Did you guys have a couple different I'm drawing a blank. Sorry. Like releases that you guys introduced at MemLive?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. We actually waited a couple of months because we talked with the engineering team and said, hey, we want to do this live show, and we really need you to publish the new version so we can deliver a session on it. So we knew we had 1 month of news, but it wasn't very much. So we asked them, when are the new coming out? Actually, the morning of the day of the session, the new release came.
Oh.
Yes. So before the session, we sat there, all 3 of us, Peter and Nikolai and I, and then we distributed out. You take this one, I take this one, and you take this one. And then we crunched the docs. We looked into and saw how it was, how we should configure it, and stuff like that. And then we went live with it. So
awesome.
It was a brand new experience for us as well. But that's kind of the fun thing, right? When it's live, you see that people are not perfect, and we are definitely not perfect. We make a lot of mistakes, but we post-edit it if we do some very fatal mistakes.
Yeah. Especially when you're juggling multiple portions of it, right? It's not like it's just like, we're just going to talk about Windows Hello for Business. Sometimes you could probably cover up to 5, 6 different things.
Yeah. So it was, we were rehearsing a bit on who will do what. And we learned a lot from it because there was a very good engagement from the crowd. And we also learned how we can get the sound better on the actual recording because it was horrible. And I need to excuse on behalf of us because those that then looked at it on YouTube afterwards, they had an AI version of it because I'm using Adobe Premiere. So I was kind of trying to get off all the noise of the voices, and it generated kind of a robot voice. And I thought it was much better than all the noise. But you can't make bad voices. You can't make that better. You just need a good voice on your recording. That's really what we learned.
When did you start speaking at conferences then?
Yeah, I did that actually after receiving my MVP, because I must be honest, it's really hard sometimes to actually get a session if you're not MVP. And now I'm doing my own summit with a group of people, and I must I must say that I'm also very much looking at, okay, who has experience of speaking? So I think there is a general thing there when summits are created and people want speakers, they want to sell tickets. So they need someone that is publicly known in the field and say, hey, this person is coming, buy tickets. So often it's really, really hard. In the ideal world, that wouldn't be something that should help you other than, hey, you have an interesting topic. You seems like a very nice person. Hey, come and speak about it. I would like it would be like that. Yeah, reality is different. So after MVP title, it was much easier to get speaker jobs.
It's like a concert, right? You want to have the good artists there for people to show up.
Definitely.
If you have somebody local really good, maybe they are really good, but if they don't have any clout or followers behind them, it can be a little hard, especially if you're trying to sell tickets. So that makes sense.
And hey, I mean, those bands that you didn't come to hear might even be better than the big name. So I'm just saying.
Yep. And what kind of advice do you have for the next gen of IT pros?
That's a tough one. That's I mean it from the bottom of my heart, because when I started, everything was kind of still, manual. The craziest thing you could do was the Visual Basic scripting in Windows and PowerShell. And well, now you need to learn so many things. What I would suggest is, because it often gets, you don't get under the hood. I want to know, I'm curious of how things are working. So the best advice I can give you is that if you're starting in the IT business, it will become an elephant to know everything. You will never succeed if you take the whole elephant. You need to chop it off, and then need to go with, okay, what do I want to work with? What does my employer want me to do? Is that something I think is the future? Maybe not. Then maybe you do that for some time and then you seek another role. But once you get into where you have leaders, say leaders, not bosses, leaders that understand that you need to develop, then you find yourself in a very good spot. And if you can have like someone that can help you grow and help you get deeper into the technology, because if you just use AI today, you will come far, but you will never get the depth of an IT pro that you need to have. You need to look into registry. You need to fail. You need to, damage your computers and then reinstall them and play along with file system and not just do AI prompts and stuff like that, because it will never make you grow as an IT pro. It will help you, definitely, yes. But you need to know how the services behind is working. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for you to then explain the AI what you actually meant. And then you will not get the right responses. So if you very much know the knowledge behind the basics, fundamental, then you can start make more advanced choices from there and see what really interests you, and then use AI as a tool to become faster at your job. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I totally agree. If you have a table of 4 legs, you knock down one leg, maybe there's some other different requirements in order for you to get that fourth leg in again. But if you don't know the fundamentals, the requirements, it can be really hard to understand why. I don't know if that was a good analogy, but
yeah, it was. I can imagine that. Yeah. If you don't know that the 4 legs are needed to hold the table, how on earth are you going to troubleshoot a service?
Yeah. And then I'll end it here. Who is Matthias beyond the keyboard?
Oh, who is Matthias? Matthias is a 40-year-old IC pro going to pension. Love to play with my kids. Not all games. 3 of them. I have a girl and a boy and a girl, 12, 10, 9, and 5. So it's much different in what games we play. I'm soccer trainer in my spare time, 2 times a week for my son's team, and they really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. I am scout leader as well for the whole group of kids, and we really enjoy that as well. Being able to go out without having phones and stuff like that is really important these days. Just again, fundamental, be human, not have all these toys and things that keeps your mind busy so you never are bored. It's something I really enjoy as well. And I'm really bad on my own, leaving all these devices and then go outside and just be on the field and do nothing. So Matthias is much other than IT. I enjoy running. I enjoy exercise my body because, as I tell everyone, that it is the most dangerous work to sit on your desk all day long because your body does not get any better. Your back pain will start. Your body will just not thank you by sitting in the chair all day. So you need to exercise. You need to get up. And yeah, if I could, I would spend more time with my wife. 3 kids and a full-time job makes it really, really hard. But I really look forward to that. And also, we enjoy traveling, but that's mostly on enjoyable vacation rather than workcation. And sometime when the kids grow a little bit older, I look forward to bring my wife to the speaker conferences and then extend the vacation after the speaker job with my kids and my wife, and have everything combined. I really like to combine things so I can get much more done with my time.
I heard a concept of that recently. I think it's called layering. Like when you're traveling, you can put a podcast on, and, do something. Yeah. Thank you. That was great to know you, and thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me. It's